Imagine you get this frantic 911 call late one night. It's a snowy night, and the driver's stuck on the railroad tracks.
Oh, wow.
Yes, calling from a scrap metal yard, pleading for help. Seems pretty routine, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
But this seemingly harmless encounter is about to unravel a very chilling murder mystery.
It's remarkable how those seemingly totally unrelated events can converge and then suddenly reveal a much larger story. And this case is a prime example of that. We're diving into the tragic story of Kevin Jiang.
Kevin Jiang.
Yeah, a Yale graduate student whose life was cut short in a senseless act of violence.
Yeah, that driver's stuck in the snow. Well, it's a key piece of the puzzle. We're going to use police reports, court transcripts, firsthand accounts from Kevin's friends and family. We're going to piece together the events leading up to his death and uncover a shocking motive and really explore the ripple effects this tragedy had on everyone involved.
This isn't just like a dry recounting of facts. This is a story about love and loss and the enduring power of faith.
So let's start by getting to know Kevin. He was an Army veteran, a loving fiancé, a devout Christian deeply involved in his church community. And get this, a dedicated son who bought a home for his mother to live with him.
People who knew him described him as kind, genuine, and committed to his faith.
Now let's fast forward to the night of February 6, 2021. It starts with what seems like a random fender bender near the home of Kevin's fiancée Zion.
Okay.
But things escalate very quickly. Gunshots ring out.
Witnesses described a dark SUV fleeing the scene, and there was security camera footage that captured the collision, the gunshots. You can even hear Kevin scream.
It's brutal. Kevin was shot 8 times, including shots fired at close range while he was already on the ground. Initially, the detectives are baffled. They have no leads, but they do find shell casings at the scene
Right.
that match those from a series of recent shootings, targeting seemingly random homes in the area.
So could Kevin's murder be connected to these other shootings? The detectives are trying to piece together this puzzle, but there's a lot of missing pieces. They're looking for any possible link between Kevin and these other shootings.
And then just 15 hours after Kevin's shooting, a break in the case. Remember that driver stuck in the scrap metal yard? That's where Kingswin Pan, an MIT grad student, enters the picture.
It's ironic how Pan's attempt to cover his tracks actually leads directly to his capture.
So the police respond to the 911 call, find Pan, help him get his SUV towed. They notice a few things: a yellow jacket, a blue bag, a briefcase, but nothing that really sets off any major alarm bells at that moment.
But later, an employee at an Arby's,
Arby's.
yeah, next door to the hotel where Pan was taken, discovers bags containing a gun and ammunition, and those bags belong to Pan.
The gun is a .45 caliber, and the shell casings match those found at Kevin's murder scene and the previous shootings. So Pan suddenly becomes the prime suspect.
This is a major turning point in the investigation. Now the detectives have a suspect and potential evidence linking him to the crime. But the question remains, what's the motive?
When detectives dig into Pan's background, they uncover this chilling connection to Zion Perry, Kevin's fiancée.
And this is where the possibility of an obsessive motive starts to emerge.
It turns out Pan and Zion knew each other from MIT. They weren't close, but they had interacted, and investigators learned that Pan had recently tried to FaceTime Zion. Imagine being in Zion's shoes, suddenly learning that this acquaintance of yours is a suspect in your fiancé's murder.
It's just devastating for Zion. She's grieving the loss of her fiancé, and now she's linked to the suspect. It just adds another layer of complexity to her pain.
The investigation takes a dramatic turn. The detectives are now on a nationwide manhunt for Pan, who has vanished. And this is where Pan's parents enter the picture, adding another layer of intrigue to this already complex story.
Yeah, the police discover that Pan's parents helped him escape. They withdrew large sums of money, they disabled GPS systems in their cars, used burner phones. They were clearly trying to cover their son's tracks.
The manhunt lasts for weeks. Pan's parents lead authorities on a cross-country chase, using all sorts of tactics to evade capture. But eventually it ends. Pan is captured at a boarding house in Alabama with his father's passport and a large amount of cash.
Huge relief for the investigators.
Yeah, but the mystery of his motive is still unresolved.
We have a suspect in custody, but the why behind his actions remains elusive.
So let's delve into what we know about Pan's potential motive. The evidence suggests a possible obsession with Zion. He had very little social media presence, his Facebook posts were minimal, and he deleted messages between himself and Zion. It's as if he was intentionally trying to erase any trace of their interaction.
And those test drives Pan took at car dealerships claiming he was going on camping trips. Well, the dates of those test drives coincide with the shootings that targeted those homes.
So those shootings might have been intended as a distraction, a way to create chaos and mislead the investigators. It's like he was playing this twisted game using violence and deception to try and control the narrative.
A chilling thought, and it underscores the calculated nature of Pan's actions.
We've got a suspect with a potential motive, but there are still so many unanswered questions. What happens next? Well, with Pan behind bars, the focus shifts to the courtroom. That's where the emotional weight of this tragedy will truly hit home.
It's a moment of reckoning, not just for Pan, but for everyone impacted by this senseless act of violence.
Kevin's loved ones will have their chance to confront his killer and share their grief, their anger, and their unwavering faith. These impact statements are incredibly powerful. They offer a glimpse into the profound loss and the enduring strength of those who loved Kevin. Welcome back. Last time we left off with Kinswa and Pan's capture. Now he's facing justice, but there's still so many unanswered questions.
Yeah, and the trial was delayed due to the pandemic, but during that time, investigators continued to meticulously build their case against Pan. They uncovered a mountain of evidence, including a license plate imprint on Kevin's car that matched that SUV Pan was driving.
So they had the car, but did they find anything else that actually linked Pan to the crime scene?
Absolutely. Forensic testing revealed Pan's DNA on the gun and the ammo that was found at the Arby's. They also found Kevin's blood on Pan's hat and on the gear shift of his SUV.
Wow, that's a lot of evidence. It sounds like an open and shut case, right?
Well, not quite. There's one crucial piece missing. The murder weapon. The gun found at the Arby's wasn't the one that was used to kill Kevin.
So where is it? Did Pan get rid of it during his escape? Do we have any clues?
It remains a mystery. Despite extensive searches, the murder weapon was never found. It's possible Pan disposed of it during his weeks on the run, or perhaps it's still out there just waiting to be discovered.
That's unsettling. But even without the murder weapon, it sounds like the evidence against Pan was pretty overwhelming.
You're right. Pan's lawyer knew they couldn't win at trial. So Pan agreed to a plea deal, guilty to murder, in exchange for a 35-year prison sentence.
35 years. It doesn't seem like enough for taking a life. But I imagine this offered at least some sense of closure for Kevin's loved ones, avoiding a long and drawn-out trial.
Plea deals are always complex. They involve weighing the desire for a harsher punishment with the certainty of a conviction and the desire to avoid a lengthy and emotionally draining trial. For Kevin's family and friends, this plea deal meant they wouldn't have to endure the agonizing uncertainty of a trial, but it also meant accepting a sentence that many felt didn't truly fit the crime.
Now let's go inside the courtroom for Pan's sentencing hearing. This is where we really see the human cost of his actions.
Yeah, it's a moment of reckoning, not just for Pan, but for everyone impacted by this senseless act of violence.
Kevin's mother, Linda, delivered a heart-wrenching statement. She spoke about her dreams for her son, dreams of him getting married, having a family, dreams that were shattered by Pan's bullet.
She spoke directly to Pan, telling him that 35 years isn't enough. Her words were filled with both grief and righteous anger. She described her profound loneliness now that Kevin was gone, how her life felt empty without her son's presence.
It's unimaginable, the pain of losing a child in such a senseless way. And then Zion stepped forward to speak.
Yes, and what she did was remarkable. She addressed Pan, directly acknowledging the pain he'd caused, but also offering a message of forgiveness and mercy.
Wait, forgiveness after everything that happened. That's incredible.
It truly is. Zion's words were powerful. She said, "May God have mercy on you, and may he have mercy on all of us." It was a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, hope and forgiveness are possible.
It speaks volumes about her character and the depth of her faith. So did Pan himself say anything? Did he offer any explanation for his actions?
He did address the court. He expressed remorse for his actions and accepted his punishment, but he offered no explanation for why he killed Kevin.
No explanation why. Was he trying to protect someone? Or was he simply unable to face the reality of what he'd done?
It's a question that continues to haunt those who seek answers in this case. Pan's silence only adds to the mystery and the pain. His statement was brief and somewhat hollow. He acknowledged the horrible consequences of his actions, but didn't shed any light on the motive that continues to baffle everyone.
It leaves everyone grappling with unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And I imagine the lack of a clear motive makes it even harder for those who loved Kevin to find peace.
You're right. The judge then sentenced Pan to 35 years. He was led away in handcuffs, and a chapter in this tragic story came to a close. But the ripple effects of this crime continue to be felt by those closest to Kevin.
And there's one more layer to this story that I find particularly intriguing. The detectives considered charging Pan's parents for helping him escape, but they couldn't prove that the parents knew about the murder when they picked him up.
This brings us back to that question of familial loyalty versus justice. If Pan's parents did know about the murder, would they have still helped him? It's a moral dilemma that leaves us with a lot to ponder.
It makes you question how far you would go to protect your own child, even if they'd committed a terrible crime.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, and in this case, we'll likely never know the full truth about what Pan's parents knew and when they knew it.
So we're left with lingering questions not only about Pan's motive, but also about the role his parents played in his escape. As we move on to the final part of our deep dive, we'll shift our focus to the aftermath of this tragedy and the enduring impact on Kevin's loved ones. Stay with us. We've spent the last two segments really unraveling the details of this case, the evidence, the investigation, the trial. But now I kind of want to shift our focus to the human side of this story.
Yeah, you're right. It's so crucial to remember that at the heart of this tragedy is a young man whose life was just tragically cut short, and a community that was forever changed by this senseless act of violence.
Kevin's loved ones, his mother, his fiancé, his friends, his pastor, they all painted a vivid picture of him. They said he was kind, compassionate, and a deeply faithful man. His legacy lives on through their memories. And their strength and their resilience in the face of such immense loss is truly inspiring.
It really is a testament to the power of the human spirit to find ways to endure and even thrive, even in the darkest of times.
One thing that really struck me throughout this deep dive was Kevin's deep faith. It seemed to be such a guiding force in his life, and it seems to be providing comfort to his loved ones as they navigate their grief.
Faith can be an incredibly powerful source of solace and strength in times of adversity. It offers a sense of hope and purpose even when facing unimaginable loss.
His friends from the Army National Guard shared stories about his kindness, his humor, and his unwavering commitment to his values. They talked about how he always had their back, how he could always make them laugh, and how he inspired them to be better people.
These personal anecdotes offer a glimpse into the kind of person Kevin was. Beyond the headlines and the courtroom drama, they humanize him and make his loss all the more poignant.
And his pastor talked about Kevin's dedication to his church and his sincere desire to serve others. It's clear that Kevin touched the lives of many people in a positive way, and his absence is deeply felt by all those who knew him.
His story reminds us that one person can make a significant difference in the world, even if their time here is cut short. It also highlights the importance of cherishing those we love and making the most of every moment we have together.
And I keep thinking back to Zion's words at Pan's sentencing, her message of mercy, her plea for God to have mercy on both Pan and all those affected by this tragedy. It was incredibly powerful.
Right.
It speaks volumes about her character and the depth of her faith.
It's a remarkable display of forgiveness and compassion, especially considering the circumstances. It challenges us to consider the power of forgiveness even in the face of unimaginable pain and loss.
So what can we take away from this deep dive into Kevin Jiang's story? For me, it's a reminder of the importance of cherishing our loved ones, living a life guided by our values, and finding strength in our faith and community during times of adversity.
It's also a reminder that even in seemingly safe and predictable environments like those found in academia, darkness can lurk in unexpected places. It challenges our assumptions about who we think is capable of violence and forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that evil can wear many faces.
This case leaves us with so many unanswered questions. Why did Pan target Kevin? What was going through his mind? What would have happened if he hadn't gotten stuck in that scrapyard? We may never know the full truth, but I think the bigger question this case raises is this. In the face of such a senseless tragedy, can forgiveness truly be possible?
That's a profound question, and one that each listener will have to answer for themselves. There's no right or wrong answer. It's a deeply personal journey. But I think grappling with that question can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
And that's what the deep dive is all about. We go beyond the headlines to explore the complexities of human nature, the power of resilience, and the search for meaning in the face of adversity. We encourage you to continue reflecting on this case and the questions it raises.
If you'd like to learn more about Kevin Jiang's life and legacy, you can visit his memorial website or listen to the full 48 Hours episode on Wondery.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more thought-provoking explorations of complex issues and the stories that shape our world. Thanks for listening.